Well, we're off air still.
No, we're live.
Oh, mine says off air.
Okay.
Okay, well, if we're live, that's fine. Oh, no, we're live.
So, first question, I guess, what specific service are you providing to your community partner, for your community partner? Um, I don't know, what are we doing?
Do we all kind of say separately, like, because we've never worked together as a team?
Right.
So should we kind of go around and say what we've been doing at
Yeah.
the facility? I mean, I guess Matt and I worked one day together, kind of. He did one thing though while I was doing something else. But I worked down at the coffee shop twice. No, yeah, no, yeah, twice. I worked down there twice, and then I worked one day I cleaned, and then I like just like swept and stuff. The next day I like taped up windows, and I moved a bunch of like boards and stuff out because they're having drywallers come in, so they wanted like just the stuff that was just in there outside. So I moved like some of that stuff outside. And then but before that I like cleaned the hedges and I showed you guys those pictures. And then one day it was really fun because I got to go with the kids and I did the Whiz Kids. And we did like reading and stuff, and we ate lunch with them and did Bible study with them and stuff like that. It was kind of cool. It was pretty eye-opening though. Um, the like a few of the kids, actually a lot of the majority of them would carry like kept half of their lunch, or they would ask people for to like take things like even the volunteers got lunches and they were asking me for my food and I wasn't really hungry so I just gave them my food, but they would save it and not eat it. And then this one volunteer came up to me and he's like, yeah, they save it because they don't have food at their house. And so like and they don't have meals, and it made me really sad because I mean I didn't outright think of that. Like I was just like, oh, maybe they're just gonna like have a snack later or something. But I guess he talked to one of the kids one day and asked him why, like, what if he was really hungry that day because he had a big like bunch that he collected from other people, and he was like, no, I just don't have every meal, so I am saving it for if I am hungry. And he like and he just said it so like nonchalantly, like it was just like a thing that everyone went through, and it was just kind of like eye opening. And then this other girl, we were in Bible study, and she told me she was like sitting on my lap, and she's like, I miss my mom, and I'm like, it's okay, you'll go home because it was the day was almost over, and she said I was like, you'll go home and you'll see your mom. And she's like, no, she's not there. And I'm like, oh. So then it made me feel bad because then I was reminded, like, oh, yeah, not all of them have, like, a family even. Like, some live with relatives and some, like, their parents are divorced and they don't live with one or the other. And so, like, I don't know. It made me kind of feel like everything I said was kind of, like, touchy, like, I don't want to say the wrong thing. Like after that, I was like, oh crap, I don't want to accidentally say something because I think it's common, like a common thing, whereas these kids don't have that.
Right.
And so I think the most eye-opening thing was working with them, and I think that that helped me because that was the second time I volunteered, and so when I helped out with the construction site, it really kind of I don't know. I feel like it gave me a sense of like, oh, like this is actually helping them a lot because they don't have this, like, even though I'm not directly helping them, like I'm helping them in other ways. And so I don't know. It was kind of cool. Sorry, I talked a lot, but I just that was a big eye-opening thing for me. Okay, next.
It's a good point. I mean, because I've only worked at the construction site, so having the opportunity to see what children we will be, yes, but the fruits of our labor will benefit, to have them to have that facility to interact with other kids, to have the opportunity to gain some more job skills, economic skills, and things that as they advance in age and hopefully advance, knowledge-wise to provide opportunities that they wouldn't be allowed to, because they don't have that structure of a home and they don't have the familiar structure that we are so common to and are blessed with. So, it's a good point. Great
Yeah.
point.
Yep. When I was there, I helped with the coffee shop maybe one day, I think when I was with Matt. And then the other days, I helped clean the kitchen, and then I helped like stack logs, and then I gardened. So yeah, kind of the same thing, just like lots of hands-on doing work. But as I was working, I was like, like me doing this stuff is helping other people like not have to do those things so that they can work with the kids. Which was kind of a cool way to look at it too, because for a while I was like, man, I'd love to get to just be with the kids, see how they are, like what their life is like, what things they go through, what things make them happy. Um, but then I realized, well, I'm doing this so that other people can do that. So it's cool that you got to do that, Lauren. Really cool.
Yeah.
hmm
Okay. Next question.
How many hours have you logged so far? We have to do 15 total.
Yeah.
hmm
So, um, I think I looked at probably have like an hour left or a half hour left, um, counting that River Bend tour. So I'm pretty much done, but and all my time's been at the coffee shop construction site. So
hmm Yeah. I have mine done. I just did like big chunks on Mondays, so I was able to get it done fast. But my last week was last week. So how
I
about you, Lauren?
I'm done with mine. I went 4 times and got mine done. But they were asking me if I was available this week because I guess they're doing some more cleaning because I guess I don't know exactly what's going on, but they're getting moving more with it, and so they really want to get it all cleaned out this week. And I'm pretty open in the after 10 o'clock every day this week,
hmm
pretty much. So I told them I'm like, yeah, if you need more help, just send me an email and I'll come in. So I didn't schedule anything, but I might end up doing more hours than
Awesome.
the 15. So I just,
hmm
I mean, I kind of felt bad leaving in the middle of everything because I know that they're still they're behind schedule and all that stuff. So I was just kind of when he asked me, he's like, "So are you done with your hours?" I'm like, "Yeah." I felt bad.
hmm
But then I was like, "Oh, I'll still help though, because if I have the time, I mean, I don't care."
Yeah,
And it was fun. They're all really nice there. And
they
then
are.
the last day that I helped, one of the guys went to the convenience store and he actually got me a Powerade, and I thought that was really nice of him. He's
That
like,
is
"Hey,
nice.
yeah." He's like, "Here, you can have this." I'm like, "Oh, thanks." So I don't know. They're really nice and they're welcoming of a bunch volunteers. So I liked it there. So
Yeah.
I'm willing to go back if they want me to.
hmm Yeah.
yeah, I know they had a electrician and some other contractors there on Friday when I was there Friday morning for a little bit, and Mark was kind of running between meetings, etc., and trying to finalize stuff with the electrician. I was there, and he'd asked me before he left. He's like, "You wouldn't be available Monday, would you?" And because we need the drywallers to come in, kind of what you're saying, Lauren, in regards to really looking for. We got more stuff coming up because it is starting to progress as these contractors are coming through and
Mhm.
waiting for inspections to come through with the city and stuff. So it's nice. I mean, it's kind of nice. I like the aspect of doing something like this as far as I guess it's just me and enjoying the construction aspect of it.
Yeah.
Uh,
hmm
you get to see something from scratch and then the final product, and knowing that you helped build that's kind of a rewarding opportunity, I guess.
hmm Yeah. Do you guys think you'll go back to the coffee shop later once it's all done?
I definitely will. I love
hmm
coffee,
hmm
and just knowing how they do it, so to help others uh, get experience and stuff like that. Yeah, I definitely will go by, and I'll bring
hmm
my friends and stuff, and be like, "Hey, come see this place." So I
Yeah.
can be like, "I helped with it."
hmm
So it'll be kind of cool, and then I can tell them how the organization works. I mean,
Right.
all my friends already asked me And even my boyfriend, whenever I'm like, oh, I'm volunteering at this place, he's like, what is that place? And then I get to explain everything. So
Mhm.
I know it's kind of cool because then you can tell them, because I didn't even know any of that stuff existed in Des Moines, to be honest.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of cool, and you can introduce it to a bunch of new people that you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun.
Yep.
So what are you learning? What are we learning from this thing?
To
Challenges, insights? I
what?
think, as far as insights, something that you kind of pointed out, Lauren, in regards to the food, the kids and their meals, how you have to kind of almost take a step back and really think about how the kids are and what do they have, what don't they have, and what do they need. Um,
Mhm.
you know, I think a lot of it's just the support. I mean, not having the opportunity to work with them children directly, but sensing just the environment of what the Freedom for Youth is structured around is really just looking at identifying children's needs and trying to build them up and give them
Mhm.
an opportunity for a positive outlook in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's it's interesting to see the growth that they've been able to accomplish, um, not only here in the metro but across the state. And I think you kind of sense that just in trying to get a hold of Jacqueline and
Mhm.
how she seems to be like always gone and on the move. So I mean, it's just
Mhm.
probably a part of all the requirements to keep the process growing and moving. And I don't know.
Mhm. I think what I'm learning from just like the books we've been reading and like just seeing Jacqueline and all the other people there is how much work it takes. Like we're all servant leaders in our jobs and we all give all that we can and we all make a difference. But like in their shoes, like it takes a lot of sacrifice of your time, of your energy, of your family life. And so I think I've just been really inspired by that to like have a servant leadership role like that. It takes so much sacrifice. And I know Jacqueline has kids, but I don't really hear about it much because she cares so much for the kids that are there, and she focuses so much on what she's doing, where she's at, and I think that's what I'm really learning from just Freedom from Youth in this class.
Um, I guess what I learned is that, well, I'm still kind of learning, but not to take things for granted. I mean, like,
Mhm.
I kind of like how I'm taking sociology at the same time as this class because it all really coincides
Mhm.
and it makes me actually think more about what like more about where they're coming from, what they're thinking about, what's going through their minds, how they see everything.
Mhm.
And I like I don't know, like you said about the food thing, and then also about the whole mother thing. Like she could have meant anything by her mother, but just the fact that like it just right when she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, I just assumed that she had a mother, a father, like
Mhm.
siblings in her house, like in a house, like they might not even live
Mhm.
in a house. Like I just have these assumptions that this is like a standard and everyone should live that way. And so
Mhm.
it's kind of I'm still getting used to the fact that I have to keep my mind open and not just think in a
Mhm.
structured, this is how it is, this is normal, this is what it is for everybody.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of like it really opened my eyes when I was helping them. I mean, so now it's kind of I have to make sure I'm not saying the wrong things when I talk to people because I mean it might not be wrong in a general sense where it's like offensive, but it's
Right.
kind of like I'm making assumptions and that's wrong in itself. Like you shouldn't make
Mhm.
assumptions, but I don't know. So I'm definitely learning a lot when it comes to that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good point because I mean, if you think, I mean, obviously as nurses or future nurses, um, the big thing that you have to, I think for me, obviously having been a nurse for a couple of years, um, a big part of it is not assuming and taking the time to listen to your patient, finding the best way to care for them and provide for them. Kind of what we're doing here, in regards to the kids, finding the best way to help them build themselves, etc. But you're exactly right, and not just identifying that, well, this is how my life is. Everyone else should be very similar to it. And how do I have to interact with other individuals, either in nursing or society or whatever the case may be, to find out what do they need, how are they going to live,
Mhm.
and what might be a standard treatment platform for this patient here is not going to be the same for patient over here and their financial needs or economic needs or their housing needs. It's one thing to give a person you know a treatment plan that's standardized because that's what it is, but if they live on a fifth floor apartment, you can't really give them crutches if they don't have an elevator to use or something like that.
Mhm.
Little things
Mhm.
like that, you got to think of those things, and it's huge. Where I think you might see obviously in the hospital how all other departments are ancillary and they play off each other in regards to care plans for patients. And social workers come into play huge, financial assistance, and everything else that kind of plays into that. Pharmacy, trying to find the cheapest medications for patients to stay compliant with their treatment. That's huge.
Mhm.
Um, like you mentioned, Roxanne, in regards to some of the books that we've been reading, uh, what was it, the book on Dr. Farmer? I
Yeah.
got hooked. I mean, uh, I read the whole thing. It just kind of sucked me in because it kind of moved me in regards to thinking outside the box of how to take care of your patients and putting them priority number.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
What else? Any other questions, comments, concerns? Yes,
One
okay.
thing too that I came across was I was talking to this one guy. I think his name. He worked in the wood shop, and he was an older gentleman. And so he like came to talk to me one night, like when I was like stacking wood, and um, he was just talking about some of the kids that he works with, and he's like talking about one girl who just left, like she just stopped coming, just left. And it was just that he didn't really have a story to tell me or anything, but you could just tell his heart was just broken. He's like, some of these kids just don't stay, and I'm like, do you know why? He's like, no. And so like that kind of hit me too because like you said, Lauren and Matt, like we can't make assumptions about people, but we also have to understand that there's lots of things that come up in their life and like fears, doubts, maybe their family had to like leave, who knows? Maybe she didn't have the transportation to get there. I don't know, but they're not always able to come. Whereas like we feel like we can be pretty reliable, and when we see that something is good, we stick with it. But for them, there's all these other like things that come into play that would keep them from continuing to go to something that's so good. And I think she was a teenager too, maybe in like the halfway house, but I don't remember for sure. So that was really interesting for me.
Yeah, it's kind of since you mentioned that guy, I met him. He's really nice, and I
Yeah, he
know that
is.
Matt met him too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He talked to me one day because I was throwing out some wood, and he's like, "Why is he throwing out this good wood?" And I'm like, "Oh, do you need it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I work in the wood shop." And I'm like,
Um,
"Oh, well then of course you can use this." And so then instead of throwing it out, he took some of it and brought it to the wood shop. And he's like, I gotta talk to him about throwing stuff out. And I don't know, it just that made me chuckle. But
yeah,
yeah, so that also reminded me how, well, two things. One thing is how there's a lot of retired individuals that help out,
yeah.
and I mean that's really awesome because they're taking like yeah they're retired so they have a lot more free time, but they've been working all their lives and basically they're going back to work because
Mhm.
they're working doing whatever. Like the main guy that works, God, I can't think of his name.
Mark.
No, well, okay, like the second guy. Like Mark's like in charge of everything, but
Okay.
the like,
Um,
is it? No, Mark's the like big guy, right? No, like the over,
He's like in
well,
charge of everything, like
yeah.
overseeing all the
I'm not
construction.
yeah, like the guy that I don't know, I'm bad with names. Well,
That's
anyway,
okay.
so one of the guys there, he used to be like I was talking to him, and he used to be a wrestling coach and stuff, and he did construction work and everything, also. And then he retired, and he's like, now I'm back doing construction again. And he's just volunteering, but he's literally running the whole construction thing.
Mm,
And I thought that that was cool. Like he's really like he's old enough to retire. Like he's like 65 or something, and he's back and he's lifting all these heavy things and he's doing all this stuff. And I'm just like, wow, you're really sacrificing your time and all that stuff. Like when you think of retirement, you think of, oh, lay by the pool, go somewhere warm, do
yes.
something relaxing, not like, oh, go back to work again, but for
Right.
free this time, you know?
Yeah.
So, I think that's really cool that they're taking their time even. And that kind of inspired me because then I'm like, oh, when I'm retired, I can so do that. Because
Yes.
I'll have like so much time and I'll be able to do that stuff when I'm retired. And so that kind of inspired me to like once I'm retired.
She got a phone call.
Yeah, I did. Um, but yeah, so that inspired me to do that. But the other thing that it made me think of was the fact that we take little things for granted. Like we throw stuff away all the time. I mean,
Mhm.
I do. And then
Yep.
I'm just like, oh, they could have used it. They're like doing whatever, you know.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, even the lunches that they get at WizKids, they're all free. Like they're provided for by different organizations and companies that just come in and they make these lunch bags for these kids to have. And I just thought that was cool. I'm like, oh, they just like supply them with this food and it's free. And that's just awesome that companies will do that and help out.
Mhm.
And I don't know, they see the need and they try to help. It's
Mhm.
not just like oh, we don't care, we're all about the money, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and I kind of wish more people knew about it because did you guys ever notice that bread that they have sitting out outside of
Mm-hmm.
that smaller little coffee shop?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Like they have like racks of bread and it's just free. Like anyone can just walk by and take them.
Oh wow.
And the reason why they're free is because like they were at Hy-Vee and they like expired on the Hy-Vee
Yeah.
shelf, but they're not bad. They just like expired on the shelf. So then they have them and they're just for free outside and anyone can walk by. But they have so many left over each day. And so I like so part of me I just wish I could just like get the word out and be like, "Hey, if you need bread, like they have free bread. Like
Mhm.
go utilize things that are there." You know
Yes.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
when I was working on the hedges, I got to see some of the people come up and get the bread and I thought that was really cool that that was an option for them. And a couple of
Mhm.
them actually talked to me, and I thought that was cool. They were like, "How's your day?" and they thanked me, and they didn't know that I was only there for like a couple hours, you know, to volunteer or whatever. But they're like, "Thank you for all you do," and I
Hmm.
really like appreciate, you know what I mean? And like you don't normally get thank yous, and so like I don't know, that was just it was nice because even though I'm not the one like doing it, it was just nice that like they're so thankful for everything they get, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I'm
Mhm.
just kind of like, oh, it's something I have, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I thought that was cool. Sorry, I talk a lot, but yeah.
No, you're great. You're so great.
I thought that
Hmm.
was it's been a really fun experience for me. I've really liked it.
Mhm.
It has. It's been eye opening, and so it's been rewarding in that aspect to see a different part of the community that I haven't had the opportunity to. You know, it's
Mhm.
something that you're just busy with your own life and you don't pay attention sometimes, and it's
Mm-hmm.
good to take a step back and look and listen and see what it's like and understand other individuals and the struggles they have. Make sure struggle is not quite so bad.
Mhm.
So I've liked it. What else? Any other thoughts, comments, concerns? Or should we wrap this one up for this time and move on to the next project?
I had a question. How do you think this will help you as Lauren, I guess, are you going to be a nurse? Are you studying to be a
Yeah.
nurse? Okay. So, and even Matt, you as a nurse now, like, how do you think this is going to benefit us as nurses? Just this class and what we've learned from being at Freedom for Youth.
Um, I guess as asking the aspect of how is it going to help as a future nurse, uh,
Mhm.
I think the key thing is understanding all the needs of other individuals. For me, it's really grasping that we don't have everything. There's thousands, millions of people that are have the bare necessities to survive, if that. And when you take care of patients that don't have financial support or um, the struggle, I think kind of the struggles that when you see people that do have the needs, the financial means, the social need, the means to get health care or get food and get treatment, but neglect it and don't take care of themselves, where you see other individuals that would do anything humanly possible to get medications and food and the basic needs
Mhm.
to survive, and they don't have it. So I mean, it's kind of a blend of what you're saying in regards to the wasting of the lumber. It's like, yeah, you have someone wasting lumber because it's like it's scrap, we don't need it, but you have another
Mhm.
individual like, look at all the things we could be doing with these pieces.
Wow. Yeah.
It's the exact same thing if you look at it in regards to medicine, to eating healthy, living a healthy lifestyle. I mean, I don't know how many times I've taken care of patients that have come in DKA because they didn't have insurance and they didn't want to buy insulin, but they still kept up their pack a day smoking habit. And it's little things like that it's like, okay, that's teaching moment here. It's like stop the $4 pack of cigarettes for 2 days, and guess what? You've just bought insulin for a month.
Mhm.
And it's little things like that you think of that, and as growing as future nurses, you realize that we are servants, and what we might identify as our ideal treatment plan is not ideal for that patient. And
Yeah.
taking the time to listen to them and finding what they need. Um,
Mhm.
I've worked in critical care pretty much my whole time, so I did all my education sometimes was more towards the family, teaching them what their family member is going to need, not necessarily today or the next 10 minutes or 2 hours, but if they survive this hospitalization, here's what you can anticipate for the next couple of days, the next weeks, next month. And
Mhm.
I don't know, it's good to learn, the readings of some of the textbooks that or the books that we've read, not necessarily textbooks, but the books, some of the sign readings to get a kind of grasp of other avenues to advance your nursing career. As far as mission trips or volunteering and stuff, there's thousands of opportunities as a nurse that we can do
Yeah.
um, to be a servant leader.
Mhm.
And when I think of, so for a little while, I was kind of confused at how, like, a profession could be seen as being a servant leader. Like, how you can, because for a long time, all I thought was being a servant leader is committing your free time to it. And
Hmm.
then everyone kept asking, like, how are you going to be a servant leader at your job? And I'm like, how do you do that when you're getting paid? Like, you're not just like using up your free time to help others.
Mhm.
And I know other people might see it as like, I'm paying you to do this stuff. So, like, but after a lot of thought and like reading, like how people went about their lives showing servant leadership, I thought about how maybe it could apply by doing like the little things that you don't necessarily have to do as a nurse, but you do. Um, in order to make their patient feel better.
Yeah.
Like, instead of just going in and out, like, oh, I gotta get your vitals, get the vitals and leave. Like, you could go in, get the vitals, but then talk to them and make them feel like a person. Don't just say you're room 10 or you're room 9. Like,
Yeah.
go in and be personable about it. And that, to me, that in itself is kind of being a servant leader, because you're showing that you care about someone when you don't necessarily have to do your job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I think that that's a way to show servant leadership in your job. I mean, there's a lot of ways a nurse can be a servant leader. Like
Yeah.
you said, you can go out and do volunteering. You can do like whatever. You can help out with organizations. You can even go like to Freedom for Youth and teach a health class to those. Like how she said that we could have done that if we had a better like a scheduled time where we could meet or whatever. But other than that, like for simple things, you could just honestly just be more personable to the patients and not just strict about I have to get this done, A, B, and C. That's all I'm here for. Yeah, so I thought that that was one like way that you could show servant leadership without having to. I mean, it does take up time, so it's not like it's not taking
Yeah.
care of. You know what I mean?
And
But,
energy. Like, it takes a lot
yeah.
of time to invest in people's lives and to really listen and to care and to not make assumptions or not judge them. Like, you know, and give quality care and equal care to everyone, no matter how they treat you or how they treat themselves or how they treat others. You know, like, none of that is easy, but yeah.
Very true.
Cool.
All right.
All right, gals.
All right. Sign out.
Yeah.
Bye.